Brain Kitty Podcast, episode 482. How's my Sarah?
Woo! I'm feeling good.
Good.
It's pouring rain in California, and I love it.
It's raining?
Like thunder and lightning, torrential downpour. Oh, my God. Guess what I did? I left my hunter boots outside because that's like where I garden. They were filled up to the mid-shin.
What? For real?
Yeah, for real. Like, I can't believe how much rain there is.
I do love a thunderstorm.
I love it too. I was so mad. Ren woke up early and he was like, "Ooh, it was," and then I woke up probably at like 5:30, so still pretty early. And he was like, "Oh, you missed it. There was thunder and lightning." And I was like, "Come on!" I was so mad. I was like mad that I missed it. I was like, "You didn't wake me up." It's like, I didn't know that at 4:30 in the morning you'd want me to make you up for thunder and lightning.
Wow, I bet it was so cool.
Yeah, right? He said he thought it was like car lights, like, or like a fire engine outside or something because, like, you know, we're in the city. And so, like, I'd never experienced lightning in a city before. So
that is so fun.
Yeah. Interesting. How are you, Suze?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
I wanted to give you a report on a few things. Let's see, what did I watch? We talked about Soul, but I watched on HBO Max at the behest of Christy, our Brainiac.
Oh, shout out to Christy.
A Bee Gees documentary, which was super fun.
Oh, I heard this was really good.
It was great. I loved it. I love a rockumentary.
Rockumentary. I love that word.
Well, you know, the only bad thing was that because there's only one Gibb remaining, including Andy Gibb, that means that a lot of the footage of like interviews was from their behind the music because it was like they used the footage from the people who had passed away to supplement that was the only thing I was like, well, I already saw that behind the music. So, but my God, their music still slaps.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how like what the good ones are just that they stand the test of time. They know the equation.
Yes, that magical equation.
What's your favorite Bee Gees song?
I've been really into Jive Talkin' and How Deep Is Your Love. I think that's one of the greatest love songs ever written.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And the harmonies, I mean, transcendent.
Yeah. And just good costumes too.
Well, you know how I feel about whenever family members sing together, it's special. And they have their voices. It just creates this harmony that can't be done unless you're related.
You know what? I never really thought about that, Susie.
Yeah,
like
all my favorites.
I think you've said that, but I've never really thought about like what that could mean. Right. And then you think about that there could be some biological design.
I would love to know.
Because
nature
would provide that.
Right. Like the magical voice box.
Because don't you, as a mom, don't you think you would know Lincoln's mom in a crowd of, like, I don't know, however many kids yelling mom?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, you can hear his, like I don't know,
pitch
there's
or
something
the timbre
to
or whatever.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about that. And then you get all of that together. It would make sense because, you know, if you were like, biologically what would happen, like people need to be able to recognize like the calls from their own
yes, that's a good point. Evolutionarily
group. And evolutionarily there would be an advantage to that, so we probably have that built in and don't even realize it, or maybe people do. Hello, that's why the Hansons can crush it.
The Hansons, Jackson 5, Beach Boys,
Jonas Brothers, love them.
Right. I mean, there is something about it, and it just
and if
makes
they're not all
really
singing
special.
together, they're all singing. Cyrus, I'm thinking Miley Cyrus, and not like there's like Don't Her Family. I don't know why my mind went to Miley Cyrus all of a sudden.
You know what? She's always on my mind.
I do really like her. That song Malibu, I think, is amazing. I think musically,
a lot of her songs are amazing.
It's so beautiful. It's so like has that haunting kind of sound too.
Yeah.
I think people don't give her enough credit, or maybe they do, and I just am hanging out with the wrong people. But
I mean, she kind of undermines her own legitimacy sometimes. But
I'm
it's
fine
part
with
of
that.
her
It's like
charm.
it's like part of the creative, like, don't tell me what to fucking do.
Yeah, because she shows herself like warts and all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, the Bee Gees doc is great. You should watch it if you're into music and, family discord. And
I am.
And who isn't? Then I watched, on Netflix, that docuseries called The Ripper.
Oh, was that good? Do I need to watch that?
Yeah, let me give you a heads
You said
up.
it with like a sly.
Yeah, The Ripper.
That was okay.
Because I thought when I pushed play, I thought it was going to be about Jack the Ripper, but it was about the Yorkshire Ripper, which was an English serial killer from, like 30 years ago. And it's a series. And like the first couple episodes, it was like, okay, it's just like a normal true crime whatevs. And it was like, and then he killed this person, then he killed this person. But when it really got good for me was when they showed how all of the investigators trying to find this guy were men, and all of the journalists covering it were men. And it framed the public's perception of who he was, what kind of person he was, and like who the victims would be. And they did such a good job of deconstructing that system and showing how that caused a lot of problems in the investigation, and how they probably would have found him so much earlier if they hadn't had these biases against like prostitutes and because they always do that. They always talk about like, she had loose morals. Why was she out at night or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the facts of the crime and stuff. Once they started including those cultural elements, I was like, ooh, now we're
interesting.
Talking. Yeah, because I mean, that's what we see still all the time with coverage of,
I am reminded, one of the things that I had meant to share with you guys here a long time ago, and has been kind of like, I don't know, on the back of my mind. I've recently read a bunch of articles about discoveries that are being made of hunting tools and scars, or like skeletal remains of like really old bones and stuff of women that show signs that they were in battle, or that they were like had all these male jobs. And we've talked about this before, like there was like pottery workers or like arts and crafts in some, I can't remember where. But all of the discoveries before and all the writings about these cultures and these ancient civilizations have been written from the perspective of men, from a male-dominated society, and now we're looking at things through like a more open-minded lens and being like, wait a sec. No, it's not a men hunt and women stay. This female was a hunter that was rewarded with all of this, like, and buried with all these, and it changed. It's like flipping the script. So I feel like this is kind of like that our history is not actual history. It's whatever the people writing the history or the journalists or whatever are. It's from one perspective.
Yeah,
usually a white male one.
Yeah,
heterosexual male one, and that the heteronormative dominant discord.
Right. Everything that we're taught is through a very specific lens, and then we don't get the full story. It's distorted.
Right.
And so that's what I liked about it, was like, oh, this is still going on. It's still relevant. And it's just good to remind yourself that we all have biases, and that, like, if you're aware of them, then you can work to work against them,
Yeah, remember just last week when I was telling you I read that article, and then I just assumed that the researchers were male because they had pictures of men within the article, and I was just like, there were stock images, and I had to be like, oh wait, they weren't even images of them. It was just like stock images of somebody doing an experiment, holding a clipboard,
and we're mad about it.
Yeah, there you go. But we're aware of our own biases and our
right.
We're learning.
Well,
that's what we do.
Some of them I feel like are fair. Like, I feel like I'm biased to love modern fertility, for example.
Well, the facts that we have we have the experience. I know,
right?
Been there, done that, tried it, loved it.
Modern fertility is such a great service for anyone who wants to know what's going on in their body in terms of how many eggs you have, your hormone levels, like reproductive health.
How about having like a little bit of control and awareness in a time when like there's not a lot of it, you know? We can like know more.
Yeah.
And then do stuff with that information.
Modern Fertility is really cool because they send you a little kit and you can just do it right at home, send in the packet, and then they give you all those results that I said. You know, super easy. You don't have to go into a doctor. It's affordable. This is something that would cost over $1,000 at a doctor's office, and you can get it for so much less. It's like $159 to get the same information from Modern Fertility.
Wow.
And then you know what's going on in your body. You can make informed decisions. And right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy. So it means your test will cost only $139 instead of hundreds or thousands it would cost at the doctor's office. Yes. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy, modernfertility.com/braincandy. It's like a good thing to do at the beginning of the year, too. Get some information.
Yes, it's really in line with our predictions for 2021.
That's so true, right?
Yes.
I mean, maybe we'll have like a brain candy baby boom. All the listeners.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Everyone's just going to be super fertile and pregnant.
Then I could make the book Experimenting on Babies part of our book club pick.
What is that book?
Oh my gosh, it's really funny. It's like experiments that you can do with babies, like things that are
great.
all normal. It's like the grip, like the finger, those things. And it's like things that are natural, like reflexes for your baby that you can, and it's funny. I haven't even cracked it open yet.
That's a great idea.
I remember I saw that and I was like, oh, I'm definitely buying this.
Okay, well, this is like if you do have a baby and it grows up to be a dude, this could happen to you. This is the story that I read. And I wanted to know your opinion on it.
If it grows up to be a dude, this could happen.
This could happen. Listen to this. A judge said a man could sue his parents for destroying his, quote, irreplaceable porn collection. And it included 12 boxes of pornography, 2 boxes of toys, and then like some DVDs and stuff. And
for fuck's sake.
This bozo moved out of his parents' house the year before. And this is a guy, I think he was around my age, like 40.
Okay.
Oh. And he had moved out of their house the year before. And they kept saying to him, you need to come get your porn.
Oh my God.
Like, we don't want it here.
No.
And he didn't, so they destroyed it. And now he's saying they were worth $25,000.
Oh, listen, you know how a car loses its value by like 50% when you drive it off the lot? I'll tell you, the devaluing of, or the whatever that word is, of sex toys is way greater than 50%.
Right.
Those things do not become more valuable. Thank you, sir. Not on anything, not with you using them.
I think that he was claiming that, I don't know about the toys, but at least the images were, rare or vintage or something. Like he was acting
that wasn't as good for that joke, Susie.
No, I'm saying but even so, I can't believe the judge agreed. It's their house.
You know what? Was the judge male?
Yeah.
I'd check his porn collection. Guaranteed. He's just a fellow connoisseur.
Connoisseur.
Golly.
But to me, it's like, it's their home, and they said, if you don't pick it up, like any landlord, if I leave something and I move out, doesn't it become theirs?
Yeah, there's got to be a rule or law on that.
Right.
There should be. That I would, I mean, oh God, what can, and like, I hate this guy. What an idiot.
Is your feeling that he knows it's not a valuable collection, but he is just pissed at his parents, and this was a way to get back at them, or what?
I mean, I think it doesn't sound like they have the relationship where this guy's like, this is a cultural thing and he's staying at home because that's like how they do it in his family. This sounds more like the deadbeat guy who's living. Yes. Okay. So, I wish that or wouldn't it have been nice? I don't wish anything upon this person because I don't care that much about this dude. But wouldn't it be nice if he would have put the same amount of energy into, I don't know, finding a job and getting your own place that you did into suing your parents?
Stop jerking off all damn day, weirdo.
I mean.
And if it's so important to you, pick it up.
Pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the rule on that?
I'm glad we're on the same page here.
I'm mad at the judge.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I'm missing part of the story.
I'm definitely 100% missing part of the story. There's something going on.
All right, moving on. I like this story. This was in Smithsonian. This was about the center or warehouse or whatever it is that the U.S. Postal Service has where they send mail that they can't read the address. Oh. It's so fun. Like, they have a whole system for dealing with bad handwriting.
Suze, I was scared that your Christmas card was going to go there. Because I misread my own writing and put the incorrect first letter of your city.
You did?
Correct.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I'm glad it arrived. But
me too. I was like, wow.
Maybe it was routed through this Utah building.
So tell me what's in there.
Well, they were saying that, like, there's about 40 million pieces of, what is it? 2% of all mail is illegible for one reason or another. And then that's greater during the Christmas season, of course. And then they have this whole system. And so if they really can't figure it out, they send it to this 78,000 square foot branch, and it deciphers it through computer. But if your handwriting is too old-timey, like your grandma's, like an ornate script, then then they have to do, they send it to this remote encoding center. And then if that can't figure it out, then they have to send it to the dead mail warehouse.
Oh, R.I.P.
R.I.P. And then, this is what I did not know. Like, they really can't figure it out. They will open up the mail and look for clues, which is so weird to me.
Wow.
Like, come on, it's probably not that important. And then, worst case scenario, they give up, and then they sell the stuff that is associated. Like, if it's a package, they sell it at an online auction.
Where is this auction?
Right, that's what I want to know. GoPros, laptops, watches, robotic kits, whatever.
Wait.
We're missing out, is what I'm saying.
How do we find out about this?
They did not share. Maybe they're keeping it to themselves.
Oh, my gosh. That's like a food critic writing all about this amazing restaurant and not telling us where it is.
That is so true.
You lose your job.
I guess I can't. I guess it makes sense because packages can be illegible too. But, like, if you were going to pack up a laptop and send it, wouldn't you go ahead and make sure your printing was legible?
I'm thinking, my grandma, towards the end of her life, was very committed to doing things on her own. And I received a lot of Christmas cards with, like, she would know how to do it if she got a good head start and, like, got the card was in the right direction. But sometimes, like, she would open it up and then it would be a card that folds horizontally and not vertically, but she couldn't see that. So she was, like, blind in her old age, but she would still write. And then towards the end of her life, the letters started going over one another, and she would write on top of the old, the previous word.
Right.
And she definitely mailed me stuff that I guarantee you is in that building.
Had to be routed through Utah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense. There's a lot of people with messy handwriting. Yeah. Like, what is your opinion about whether or not we should continue teaching kids cursive?
I'm going to need to look at some studies on what that does for the brain. If there's something about connecting the letters, I could see that being advantageous in some way. Yeah. I don't know. Because I do know that writing is more important than typing. That you need to learn you need to write things.
So your answer wouldn't be determined by whether or not, like, you're not in it just for the sake of it. You don't believe just teaching it because the previous generations had to learn it.
No. No. In fact, that's my biggest reason for questioning something.
Well, it's funny because when I write in cursive, like it's as if I'm writing in another language. Lincoln has no idea what it says. So maybe it comes in handy.
Yeah. Send secret messages. I mean,
He's always like, I don't know.
He's talking in Spanish without
right.
me having any idea what he's talking about. I pick up a few words here and there. He talks to my mom, like in full conversations they have, and they giggle. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Stop talking about me.
Yeah, so payback's a bitch, Lincoln.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember when my mom discovered Lincoln knew Spanish, and she was like, okay, let me test him. Okay. And she asked him in Spanish, point to the oldest person in the room. And he just was silent and pointed at my mom, and she goes, damn, he is good.
I forgot about that.
That was one of my favorite moments of Lincoln, like saying nothing and just pointing at her and giggling. And I was like, both of you are being hilarious.
Well, this isn't necessarily hilarious, but it is fantastic, which is Issue, this wonderful company that helps you create great content to post online or to create brochures or digital publications for your company. It's a perfect company for creators, marketers, designers, anyone like that, because they make designing stuff easy. And you simply go to Issue and you upload your PDFs and files, and then it'll transform them, and it can make like GIFs or all kinds of stuff for social platforms that
really
I would
take the look up a notch.
Yeah, like I wouldn't know how to do it on my own. So I'm one of these people that needs like a platform where you learn how to do it. It's super easy. Keep it simple. And get started with Issue today for free, or you can sign up for a premium account. You'll get 50% off when you go to issuu.com/podcast and use promo code BrainCandy. That's ISSUU.com/podcast, and use promo code BrainCandy at checkout for your free account or 50% off your premium account. That's issue.com/podcast with promo code BrainCandy.
Perfect for people with growing businesses. Ren got me some honey for Christmas that was made by some of his friends that just went into the beekeeping business. So I feel like they could use something like this and then start, because he said they are doing really well and business is booming and they are like need to get the word out there. And so this is like perfect. I'm going to send her that info.
Did you
also
try
the honey is amazing.
I was going to say.
No, it's really good.
I'm so jealous.
You can taste the difference. I was like, I started tearing up when he got it. I was like, you get me so much. This is such a perfect gift.
You
really
don't
even know.
Is.
It was really special. So
when you do balcony time, if you make a cheese plate and you put some of that honey on there, it's so good with cheese.
So good. I'm salivating right now.
I'm just happy for you.
Thanks, Sus.
Okay. Do you want to know? This is fun. I read about... I'm always into Pompeii discoveries. It's just...
Oh, I think we saw the same thing.
Did you? The snack bar?
Yes.
Did you watch the video?
No, did you?
Yeah, and like...
Tell me everything.
It was so beautiful, and it's really freaky because it was from, 79 AD, and like they referred to it as like fast food of the time. But I mean, basically it was just like, an outdoor kiosk or something where you could go and get snacks. And they had beautiful illustrations of like chickens and dogs and stuff. And then because of the nature of Pompeii, what makes it so fun when they do a discovery is that, things are preserved as they were at that moment. And so there were pots with chicken and snails and pigs and goats and fish and all this stuff. And then we can better understand like the Mediterranean diet, what they ate back then. I just thought it was cool.
I didn't even have the option of a video.
Oh.
I want to see that. It was just stills.
That was on The Guardian website.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to check that out. That is super cool.
I was like, you know how it is like whenever someone modernizes or colorizes black and white photos or video? That's what it feels like.
Well, I feel like we forget how art, like, ruins look like that because they're ruined. Right. They didn't look like that before,
Right.
Like I saw a reimagined, not even reimagined, but like a imagined, whatever the right term for this is, mock-up of how the pyramids of Egypt would look. And they're like sparkly, white, sleek, shiny.
Really? That's what they looked like back then?
That's what they say they would look like. They look like textured like that because it's been like
weathered,
polished and weathered over time. But there's the like assumption that everything would be really like sleek and smooth and feel like marble almost, and like, you know.
That's wild.
I have no idea.
I never thought about that.
That if you think about what it looked like at the time, like what things looked like, the frescoes in all of their color, and it's crazy. Things didn't look like.
It's just so weird how
blank and white.
Even when you watch home or news footage from like the 70s or 80s, like on that Ripper documentary, a lot of that was from the 70s. It's like they're not the same. The people.
No,
I hate that.
I can't put my finger on what it is. I always thought it was the affect.
It must be.
But
you mean
then
like the
you
filming?
Can't,
like the filter?
No, oh, that too. Effect.
Or do you mean like the
but
people?
I mean the people, like the
but
then I'm thinking themselves, but then we have videos without sound and I still get the same feeling. Because sometimes I think is how they talk, but that can't be it because... And then I guess it's like hairstyles.
Yeah. And so whenever you do have something that makes old-timey stuff seem current, it's jarring.
Yes,
like,
it's so weird.
They're people like us.
I know.
And they eat snack bars.
And just like all the same stuff. Not much has changed. I mean, a lot, everything. But like... I don't know, you know?
Everything and nothing.
Everything and nothing. God,
yes.
Isn't that just what this whole time since, like, a whole year has felt like? Like, since the entire being in whatever lockdown situation it is. It's like,
yeah, before we started recording, when we were talking about just the holidays past and everything, like... On one hand, we are sort of simulating normal life. Oh, it's Christmas and we're going to give out presents and all that. But like, I can't decide whether I think that's good, that people are maintaining some sort of semblance of normalcy, or whether it really isn't great because it tricks our brains into thinking everything's fine when it's not. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to go with the first.
Well, I hope so, because I think so. More pleasurable for sure.
Yeah, and because it creates a little bit of the routine. And, like, because I could imagine if you just, like, you know, if Nostradamus' predictions came through and there were a zombie apocalypse and this were the aftermath in some dystopian universe, a string of Christmas lights would feel very good to put up.
Okay.
And so if that feels good in, like, a dire situation, then, you know, embracing it in one
we'll
that's
stick
like
with rituals then.
Yeah, I'm for a ritual.
Well, me
Valentine's
too.
Day, I'm like, and you can probably get rid of that.
That's why I love the vitamins that are ritual.
There you go. That's one of the things that's on my to-do list every day that I get to check off. And it is so fun and so easy, and one that I guaranteed don't miss.
Well, and that's like a really good thing to do that will make you feel better, but it's so easy, like you said. In fact, I got my next month's supply in the mail today, and ritual vitamins are super great because they taste great, they're time released, they're sensitive on your stomach, and now they have an essential vitamin for kids. So if your kids are picky eaters or, you know, not probably eating
or
all
just
the best.
kids.
Right. And they're growing and they need nutrients.
Yes.
And they made this to fill the gaps in their diets of ages 4 to 12. And it's the same quality and taste as the other ones, so they won't hate them. They have a flavor, natural citrus berry flavor. They're gummies, as I told you last time you were super into. Like, you want to switch now to the kids one.
Yep.
But they're vegan, omega-3, great source of fiber. Kids often don't get enough of that. And when it comes to what goes into our kids' bodies, they've got being picky down to a science. That's why Ritual is offering our listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. That's ritual.com/braincandy to start Ritual or add Essential for Kids today. Hey. All right, moving on. What else? Oh, I thought this was interesting. In the New York Times, they did a quick little article about like how chess has become popular again because of the Queen's Gambit.
Yes, I love this.
Do you watch that?
Oh,
series?
Suze, it was so good.
What is this all about?
You have to see it. You will feel so seen. You will. I mean, minus the whole, well, I won't say anything. But
oh my God.
You will feel seen for being a different kind of girl than, like, just how us on the show, on the challenge.
Did you feel seen?
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Well, they were saying that the sales of chess sets have gone up 125% because of the show.
I love this.
And they were saying that if you buy a fancy chess set, over half the price is just paying for the creation of the knights, the 4 knights in the set, because they're the only ones that can't be created like mass produced. They have to be hand whittled or whatever. And it takes 6 hours each for each piece.
Wow.
And like, I didn't ever think of this, but they were saying, maybe you just like the look of these ornate pieces, but in tournament play, milliseconds matter, and so how the piece fits into your hand is really important. So they make a big fuss about making sure that they're whatever shape that is ideal for, like, because if you make your move and you drop the piece and then you press the clock before standing the piece back up, then you've effectively cut your opponent's time, and then you could lose the game under some tournament rules. So they're saying, like, that's part of why this is such a big deal.
Yeah.
But who knew the knights were so, like...
I did not. And I love that there was something that was designed that cannot be created with a machine.
Yeah. Like, if you want them to look nice, you have to do it by hand.
Yeah,
so there
that
you go.
is... And I like, I like a good rule. Like, I like a, how I'm open to cursive, or to getting rid of cursive, not open to changing the rules of...
Right.
chess and these kind of traditions.
Yeah, you don't like cutting corners.
Right.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, then I read, kind of keeping on the same, like, game type of thing, I had read the history of puzzles, and that was fun.
Oh, cool. I got a puzzle for Christmas.
What kind?
A jigsaw puzzle. Different kind, but, like, not like a puzzle like that, but
What's
a jigsaw puzzle. Plants.
Oh, my God.
It's
well,
so
that's
beautiful.
Be hard.
And it's 1,000 pieces.
Oh, no.
Maybe.
Yeah, question mark.
Question mark. And I told Ryan when I was done, I love
puzzle.
it. Right? Big puzzle. I told him it's so beautiful. I want to like cover it with resin and like hang it, like frame it. It's so pretty.
That's what I used to do. I used to put puzzle glue on all my puzzles and frame
There's
them.
puzzle glue?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Susie.
This is a whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the history of puzzles.
Well, that's actually the fact that you said plants. That's one thing I really never thought about, like what, because I feel like there's a puzzle for everything. There's a puzzle for every movie and whatever. Yeah. But like the pictures on puzzles are a really cool way that we can understand like what's soothing to people. I never thought about it.
Oh my God, that is so true.
Like for the most part, I know there's scary ones too, or like weird but
you wouldn't buy that for somebody who
to be soothing,
be into that.
Yeah,
the people who are buying might find some kind of strange comfort in that.
Yeah, they were saying that it makes sense that people are super into it during COVID, and that people were very much into puzzles during the Great Depression for the same reason. It's like gives you a sense of purpose when everything's out of control. But when they were first created, they called them dissected maps.
Oh.
They were invented in Georgian-era England, probably by a map maker in the early 1760s. And
I can see that invention coming to life.
Really?
I can imagine that in his head. Like, if you're a map maker, you're somebody who's taking information and you're essentially creating a puzzle with the information that you see out in the world and putting it on a piece of, like, something right in front of you.
Yeah. Well, back in the early days, they were made of wood, And they were expensive, and they were for the super rich, and they would do them at their vacation homes and like lavish house parties. Can you imagine going to a party and just doing a puzzle? I mean,
Actually,
I kind of can.
I would be totally into that party.
Thinking.
That sounds like my favorite party.
Yeah, and they employed primarily women to produce the puzzles. This was Parker Brothers. And they claimed that it was because women had smaller hands, and so they were more nimble, but really it was because they could pay them less.
Oh, God. I've been sold a
know.
bill of goods with that line, because I've heard that a million times, but you're 100% right. Follow the dollar. That's what it really is.
Yeah, so that was
Fucking A.
annoying. It said women were paid piecework until the federal minimum wage was enforced in 1937 and were expected to cut at least 1,400 pieces per day. And,
Jeez.
yeah. And early on, it was mostly like advertising images like Coca-Cola or whatever. And
yeah.
Then it turned into more like nostalgic, romantic, exotic stuff to soothe people during the Depression. And now during COVID.
And that's exactly, and look, I got the most soothing thing, and I got books on plants and plant puzzle.
Do you have a favorite plant?
Oh my gosh, Ren asked me the same question. Yes, I like the Monstera plant.
And what does that look like?
It looks like a big elephant ear, kind of. And
yeah.
I'm particularly fond of the Swiss cheese Monstera that has the big holes in it.
I
the
can
big
picture
leaves.
it.
Yes, and it's a climber, so you can like really get that one going and keep it growing. You know, the one that I have that you gave me that's really big is also a climber, and I'm going to put a post in it. One of the books that I got has this really cool tutorial on how to take like any vine, like plant that has like the little nodes that can climb or like create a vine or like grow like that, and you create a moss post with like that sphagnum moss and some chicken wire. And it'll just keep growing up, and like grow onto the moss, and it like it's a tree, like like it grows on the side of trees in the jungle and stuff. So you basically like create your own tree trunk, and it'll just keep growing up and get freaking huge, like 13 feet tall.
And like, what do you think is making you love plants more every day?
I think there's something about it showing the passing of time.
Yeah.
And then you're also caring for something. It makes you feel like to me, it's like a reminder to care for myself as well. You know, I'm like, oh, water for them, water for me, you know, and then it's fun to make, like create, it feels like you're creating life, you know, and just like watching something, you know, diagnosing something and like going, oh, what's wrong with the leaves? And, you know, luckily after my quarantining. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Sometimes, yeah, it's weird. I haven't, but I know what they are. Like the one you gave me is definitely a dude, but my fiddle leaf is definitely a female.
She's a lady.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Did we talk about,
Moody and
I think we have, do you think that letters have a gender? Each
Not
letter?
as much, but you do.
Yeah. I wondered if you had.
Yeah,
that
the
problem.
gender one wasn't ever really a thing for me as much as the like numbers and colors. Maybe that just took over.
Maybe that's why, because you had something else to organize.
I'm trying to think.
them.
What does it? No, because it would be very like. It's like definite. Either is or is. It's not even like I have to think. You know, with the colors, it's like I don't have to think. You know, you don't have to think, right?
Yeah, right.
See, that's how you know this shit. That is so cool. The brain is so crazy.
I just wish I knew, because I only have a few girl letters, A, V, K, S, like Y. But why are there so few? I don't know, Susan.
Yeah, but you know what? Those are all ones that have that V shape. That is very reminiscent of a vagina.
Okay, well. And
a K
V
is essentially two V's. V, lady. R
W,
has it in there.
W's a boy.
Oh.
So I don't know. Something to think about there. Another thing you might want to think about is sending a letter to someone you love and using stamps.com.
Well, that was just my favorite thing this holiday season.
Good.
I used it like crazy.
I'm so glad. And I was talking to my friends. We have a weekly Zoom call. And I was like, seriously, guys, are you using it? Because you really should. Because what a great thing to not have to go to the post office and you can just ship packages right from your office or your house. I just think it's great. I don't know what anyone is waiting for. You save 5 cents on every first class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail. And
then you schedule it and they come pick it up.
Yeah.
Or you want to send out a bunch of stuff, you just go, hey, here's where it is. There you go. Boop,
yeah.
Boop. Come
or
pick
you could
it
just put it in your mailbox and your carrier will pick it up when they come. And I just think it's so great. It saves you time and money. And if you want to make 2021 the year you stop wasting time going to the post office, then go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk, and with our code BRAINCANDY, you get a special offer that includes 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, type in BRAINCANDY. That's Stamps.com, promo code BRAINCANDY, Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. I'm just making days over here. I'm making your day. I'm telling you.
Yes.
All right. Next, I want to talk about, what do I want to talk about?
I want to talk about love.
Oh, I did read this book called Killing Patient Zero.
Oh.
No, I take that back. The documentary is called Killing Patient Zero. The book... Ooh, I forget.
I feel like I've heard of this. I've heard this. What is this?
Well, so we all know like what patient zero means or implies, but I sure as heck didn't know the origin was when they were still trying to figure out what the heck was going on with HIV and AIDS. And they knew that there was this, quote, gay cancer. But they really didn't understand how it was transmitted or whatever. And so they were doing these studies to find like this guy had it, then this guy got it and he slept with him. So they were doing these cluster studies to find how things were transmitted. And when they were doing it, the one study was in Los Angeles and they ended up including this guy named Gaetan Dugas, who was a man from Quebec, who was a flight attendant, and he was included in the cluster study because he had slept with some people that, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was called Patient O, like the letter, which meant out of California. It was just to show that he wasn't from the area. Mm-hmm. But somebody mistook the designation and thought it was a zero, and because he was more on the promiscuous side, he became seen as the guy that brought it to the U.S. from Canada or from wherever, and that he became the person that they blamed AIDS on.
Oh, my God.
And it's so tragic because he didn't bring AIDS, you know. There is no, like, one person.
Right.
And, like, I just can't believe that this was real and that this one guy...
We very widely accept that term.
Right.
Without ever going,
what does that mean?
God.
Yeah.
It is a actual, like misread...
Right.
letter, mistaken.
Right. And it was, you know, when you have, like we said before, when you have biases and you're inclined to think, oh, you know, gay guys are promiscuous or whatever it is, have these preconceived ideas, then
straight guys are promiscuous.
Right. You know, and he was, and he did travel. God. And he was really handsome, and, you know, it was the 70s, you know, Studio 54, that whole vibe of, like, sexual liberation without,
God, they were just looking for somebody to really...
Yeah, point the finger at.
Yeah.
And, like, it made it clear to me that the cluster studies really weren't about how do we prevent this. It was like, who can we blame?
Oh, God.
You know what? And it made it such a good point about how we're seeing it now with coronavirus. Like,
Yes.
the outsider is blamed. So, like, China was blamed. It's much easier to blame, like, and this guy was, French Canadian. So it was like this outsider comes in and, gets his germs everywhere and it's dirty.
Right.
And that's how we do whenever we're scared and there's a pandemic or there's, gay cancer, whatever it is. And it's human nature. But to actually see it systematically and in hindsight, how it happened and how this became the narrative for decades.
Yeah. So now, how is this information changing the way we're looking? Is this information changing the way we're looking at that?
It's definitely changed the way scientists do these studies and like contact tracing. Because even on this one chart that they did for patient, quote, 0, they showed who each person slept with, but they didn't have any directionality for like he gave it to him. And so you don't know, of course, like if you sleep with someone, who gave who the other thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's hard to know who caught it from whom.
Right.
And so they're doing a better job of like making the graphs and doing the studies to be more clear. But in this case, the damage was done. And of course he passed away, but like his family had to deal with this idea that their loved one was being blamed for.
That's so sad.
So sad.
Because even if oh my God, that's so fucked up.
I read the book and then I want to watch the documentary. I think it's on iTunes. You can rent it because the people that were around at that time talk about what it was like and why they got it, wrong and how this guy was the scapegoat. It's fascinating, but it's tragic.
Yeah. It really is. But informative. It really makes we have to know. We have to know so that those mistakes, and just question where we're just getting this like. I just feel like we are learning so much about how, and this always happens. This is what happens with knowledge in general. But just things that we just take as I don't know, widely accepted. I think about the 10,000 hours rule.
Yeah.
Or MSG is terrible for you. And we're like, it's like, or, really dangerous things like the vaccines, and there's a link to autism. No, definitely not. Like this misinformation just takes off like wildfire and is so hard to, it's like, so hard to trust things.
It makes sense on why it happens because humans search for these easy answers. Okay, like he did it. That guy did it. Instead of the fact that it was likely something that happened simultaneously in various areas. And, that's harder to understand. It's easier to be like, that guy's the bad guy and he did it and we hate him.
We have to teach what's it called? How to look at something with a critical eye.
Oh my God. That is the number one thing I want to tell people. I want to teach a class on how to find good sources, how to know what
you should, Susie. That for real. Should be a class. That's the closest I ever came was a women's studies class where my professor did that, and then my research methods class. But besides that it wasn't until grad school, research methods, where it was like learning how to go through something that was peer reviewed with a fine tooth comb.
Well, there was this hilarious thread on Twitter about what was your favorite Twitter moment from 2020? And a lot of them, you forget and then you're reminded and it's hilarious all over again.
Yes.
Remember when everything was cake?
No.
When it would be a video of, it looked like a pop can and then it would cut in half and it was cake.
I love those. And then they gave it to us on Great British Bake Off, a Great British Baking Show.
Right. But there'll be a 2-day period where everything's cake. And on that thread, there was several people referencing this news story that, in a headline that said, man has nervous breakdown trying to write the Kids Bop version of WAP. And I was like, this is the best story. I can't wait to talk about it on Brain Candy.
That's so funny.
It took me 5 seconds to look up the source and see that it was a satire, like The Onion, but not. And I'm like, man, these people don't even know this did not happen. It's hilarious.
Right.
But I was just like, people don't know, and they don't even bother
too bad.
checking.
I was like, that is fucking hilarious.
I wish
and that
it were
would
true.
be almost impossible to write.
Can you imagine on Kids Bop?
No. It's so funny.
I mean, we'll hope that happens someday, that somebody has a nervous breakdown trying to write a kid-friendly version of Walk.
Oh, one can only hope. That's so funny.
Let's do a wind down.
Let's just wind it down, shall we?
Yeah, just wind it.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about how great Jive Talkin' is. When you listen to that song next time, at the very beginning, there's this like, it's like a percussive intro, and it's like, what instrument is that? But they were describing how they were driving over the bridge, and their tires were going over like the rumble strips.
Yes.
And so they wanted to make that a beat in the song. And now when I hear it, I'm like, it's so cool. So listen to that.
I love those kind of things.
Me too. Then
that is super fun.
Well, then don't if you find any pornography, do not destroy it, because you might get sued.
I mean, just let it go. Just like, and if your parents threw out your old stuff, just like
move on. Take it as a sign.
Get another hobby, preferably one that involves you wearing pants.
We learned that Sarah hates cursive.
I don't hate it. I just don't need to hang on to. I'm just like, that I can let go of, but there was something I wanted to hang on to, and now I can't remember what it is. Old-timey things, hairdos. Well, not cursive. Cursive I'm fine with letting go of.
And if you have a chess set, have a look at the night.
My gosh,
see if it's
that
a
is so
dandy.
cool. Also, Susie should definitely watch The Queen's Gambit. Susie, you are going to love it.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
I know it. You will. You're really gonna like the show.
I'm excited.
Okay, the end. Yes, I can't wait for you to watch it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I love you guys
so much. So glad I have you guys.
Leave us a 5-star review and subscribe, okay?
Yeah. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Did you know that everyone has an aura? Do you know what color your aura is? Maybe you have a fiery red personality or a quiet and calm blue or green. You could be an organized and methodical yellow or an explosive purple. Come join me, Mystic Michaela, on my podcast, Know Your Aura, to find out all about how your personality can be explained in colors.